Welcome to World Wrap, your global snapshot for Monday, May 26, 2025. Here's what's happening around the world. ASEAN pushes major digital economy and trade pacts forward. Middle East Gaza casualties mount as Spain hosts crisis talks. Iran nuclear negotiations show glimmers of progress. India's economy shines as a global growth leader. Africa Day celebrations highlight calls for justice and continental unity, and later Cannes Film Festival crowns its winners. In Southeast Asia, economic integration and digital transformation are top of the agenda. Following the ASEAN Economic Community Council meeting that concluded yesterday, member states have endorsed a strategic plan for 2026 to 2030, heavily focused on digital innovation. Key progress was reported on the ASEAN Digital Economy Framework Agreement, aiming for conclusion by year-end, and an upgraded ASEAN Trade in Goods Agreement is set to be signed in October. Singapore has been pivotal in these negotiations and is also championing initiatives for a regional carbon market. Elsewhere in the region, the Philippines is reportedly making new strides in nanotechnology applications, while Vietnamese media explores the impact of AI on journalism. Meanwhile, in East Asia, Japan's economic watchers continue to analyze the Bank of Japan's cautious monetary policy stance, with the yen's movements closely tied to global uncertainties, including U.S. tariff policies. In South Korea, the cultural wave continues with K-pop acts like BTS and Blackpink maintaining their top spots in global popularity surveys, underscoring the nation's significant soft power. Across South Asia, India continues to be a standout economic performer, with a recent UN report highlighting its status as the fastest-growing major economy, projecting 6.3% GDP growth this fiscal year, driven by strong domestic demand and government spending. India's exports, particularly in services and defense, have also hit record highs. In Bangladesh, the political landscape remains tense following the interim cabinet's decision earlier this month to ban the Awami League Party pending tribunal proceedings, raising concerns about the upcoming national elections. Watch for further details on the implementation roadmap for ASEAN's DIFA and ATIGA upgrades, and upcoming inflation data from several South Asian economies. In China, the latest batch of economic data paints a picture of resilient growth. GDP expanded by 5.4% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2025, and retail sales of consumer goods grew 4.6% in the first 4 months. New energy vehicle sales have surged, capturing nearly half the passenger car market. Fixed asset investment in crucial sectors like railways also saw a steady increase. Beijing continues to advance its Digital China and AI Plus initiatives, aiming to become a global leader in artificial intelligence by 2030, with a strong focus on developing domestic innovation hubs and integrating AI across industries. Across Africa, the continent observed Africa Day yesterday, May 25th, with the African Union chairperson issuing a call for justice for Africans and people of African descent, including through reparations. The theme underscored the AU's commitment to unity, peace-building and sustainable development, with a strong emphasis on leveraging the continent's youth, vast resources, and the African Continental Free Trade Area to secure its future on the global stage. In Kenya, the tech scene continues to be a vibrant hub of innovation, with a notable focus on emerging technologies and software development, including AI-driven tools and the expansion of low-code and no-code platforms to empower businesses and drive digital transformation across various sectors. In Australia, commentary from the Reserve Bank of Australia last week noted China's robust GDP growth and its potential impact on domestic demand. Meanwhile, the Australian government is reportedly moving towards enhanced oversight to streamline digital investment. There's also ongoing national discussion about cost of living pressures and housing affordability. Across the Pacific, New Zealand is assessing the impacts of its recently delivered budget, with a focus on balancing fiscal responsibility with essential public services. For many Pacific Island nations, the pressing issue of climate change continues to dominate regional forums, with calls for stronger global action and support for adaptation and resilience measures. In the Middle East, the devastating conflict in Gaza remains a critical focus. Israeli forces continued operations over the weekend, with reports from Al Jazeera indicating further Palestinian casualties, including from an attack on a school being used as a shelter and the deaths of 2 Red Cross workers. Spain is today hosting a meeting of European and Arab foreign ministers in Madrid to push for a 2-state solution and consider potential sanctions on Israel. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has described Israel's blockade on Gaza as completely unacceptable. Elsewhere, there's a cautious note of optimism regarding the Iran-US nuclear talks. The 5th round of negotiations, mediated by Oman and Rome, concluded on Friday, with Iranian officials stating there was some, but not conclusive, progress towards reviving the nuclear deal. In Europe, financial markets continue to digest the European Central Bank's April decision to lower key interest rates by 25 basis points, even as uncertainty regarding the inflation outlook persists. The ECB maintains a data-dependent approach to future monetary policy. On the regulatory front, the European Union's landmark AI Act is seeing phased implementation. Since February, AI systems deemed an unacceptable risk have been banned, and by May 2nd, providers of AI systems were expected to have codes of practice ready to demonstrate compliance with upcoming rules. In the United Kingdom, political attention remains focused on the government's efforts to manage inflation and address ongoing industrial disputes. Meanwhile, the conflict in Ukraine continues, with reports today focusing on intense fighting in the eastern Donbas region and ongoing international efforts to supply Kiev with military and financial aid. Russia reports repelling several drone attacks on its border regions. Across Latin America, environmental policy is a key focus in Brazil. The government recently announced enhanced cooperation with China on vegetation restoration and carbon sinks, alongside new financial support programs for family farmers in the Amazon who conserve native vegetation, aiming to combine climate justice with sustainable development. In Argentina, the government of President Javier Milei is pressing ahead with its severe austerity package, which has shown signs of taming hyperinflation. The country recently secured a new IMF loan deal and is seeing an improved economic growth forecast from the OECD for 2025, though significant challenges remain. Meanwhile, Mexico is preparing for unprecedented judicial elections scheduled for June 1st, where voters will elect Supreme Court justices and other federal judges by popular vote for the first time, a major reform to its justice system. In culture and sports, the 78th Cannes Film Festival concluded on Saturday, with Iranian director Jafar Panahi's Un Simple Accident winning the prestigious Palme d'Or. In women's football, Arsenal clinched the UEFA Women's Champions League title yesterday, defeating Barcelona 1-0. In tech, the Beyond Expo Sports Tech Forum, held in Macau on Saturday, saw discussions led by figures like Mario Ho on shaping the future of sports, tech, and esports culture. That's World Wrap for Monday, May 26, 2025. Like and follow us for more daily updates from around the globe. See you tomorrow.